and welcome back to the Oorah Live Laptop Drawing. We are here in the heart of Brooklyn in Delhi 52. Gershi Moskowitz has stopped by and he's going to bring us some entertainment a little later. I'd like to thank Gershi for the tip about the sauce on my mustache. Gershi, thanks for looking out. You can keep entering to win a laptop or iPad on Oorah.org. And remember, the Chinese auction is this Motzai Shabbos, and one of the prizes, Rabbi Elefant, one of the prizes is $1 million.
$1 million.
With me is Rabbi Elefant.
If I win $1 million, then I don't have to work anymore.
With me is Rabbi Elefant from the OU, the COO of the OU, and I think you can probably tell me that the OU probably spends $1 million every day.
Probably.
See? So $1 million can go far for somebody like me, but not so far for organizations such as that one.
Correct. Well, we're doing a lot of work. As you probably are aware, we're certifying product in every one of the 50 states of the United States and in 80 countries around the world. And any time we'll have mashgichim in the most exotic places. Also, obviously comes with a lot of responsibility because we're responsible for these individuals, and sometimes they're traveling to dangerous places, and they're all family people, and they're all people that we want to make sure are safe. It's more important that they be safe, and we have one more product that's kosher. Right. But on the other hand, we have a large community that wants to have as much food available as kosher, so that's why we're all over the place, so to speak.
So what does one have to do if they're a mashgiach for the OU and they want to get sent to those exotic locations?
Misbehave. Really, obviously no one is forced to do anything that they don't want to do. We actually try to use people who are local. So as our community is growing and there are more and more Rabbonim and people from our community living around the country and around the world, we're able to tap into using those people to work as mashgichim for us, but not always is that possible. Somebody earlier came over to me and told me that he's a friend with Mati Grunberg,
right,
who's been working for the OU for decades, and he actually lives in Eretz Yisrael, but I think that's only where his address is. He spends most of the time in China.
Well, as we spoke earlier, you know, I know Emmanuel from Montreal.
Right.
And all people in Hashgacha, on the higher ups, it seems that every other week they're traveling, they're putting mileage in, they're getting everything around, but they're very rarely home because they have to check on the operations and meet.
Well, obviously, and again, it really depends on the way your Hashgacha administration is developed. There are many Hashgachas, the smaller, more likely, where the person who's running the Hashgacha out of the office is also the individual who's going to be traveling to see the facilities. When we speak about a Hashgacha like the OU,
right,
that's so large, that we're certifying thousands of factories around the world and around the country, we really have the job divided pretty much. And we have what's called RFRs, which are Rabbinic Field Representatives.
Somebody that actually goes out to a
those
plant?
are the people that are going to the plants on a regular basis. And again, some plants and some places have a mashgiach tamidi that are there 24 hours. We have full-time coverage. Then there are places that have much less visitation. A plant that's bottling water, you don't need to have a mashgiach tamidi.
Right.
So those are the RFRs, the field representatives, the mashgichim. And then we have in our headquarters in downtown Manhattan about 50 Rabbonim. They're called RCs, Rabbinic Coordinators, who are administrating this operation, this worldwide operation.
How many rabbinicals do you have in the field right now?
If I included all the people who act as shaykhtim and baitkim in the shchitas that we certify, we're probably talking in the range of 1,000 people.
Wow. Your job, you probably get to see a lot of very interesting products being made in factories.
Well, I actually don't go to factories that much, but I get an opportunity to learn about a lot of different products and to see a lot of different interesting projects develop. You know, what I've discovered over the many years that I've been involved in kashrus is that our community, there's really a very interesting situation that's happening in our community. On one hand, the community has become much more sensitive to kosher.
Right.
And we have a community that's much more observant and much more serious that they only will eat something that has a hashgacha, a hechsher, a reliable hechsher. That's very good news, and that's growing every day. On the other hand, you I'm not that old yet, but I'm not that young anymore either.
Right.
So when we were younger, there weren't that many foods available that were kosher.
100%.
And somebody who kept kosher recognized that your diet, so to speak, was somewhat limited. Now what's happening is everybody wants everything. And nobody wants to be told, well, if you're going to keep kosher, you can't have this or you can't have that. So that puts on a lot of pressure on us. But on the other hand, it gets the companies anxious to have more and more products certified, and that's why there's such a vast variety of kosher foods today.
Well, we discussed earlier, before we went on air, that there are a lot of big name products like Coca-Cola and other ones that have OU certification, and I was asking you if the companies contact the OU or if the OU goes after the company, and you were telling me...
Typically, companies will come to us.
That's right.
We're not really going to actively solicit a company to come be OU certified unless it's a product that the community
feels they need to have.
Then we're perhaps going to speak to the company and say, there's a large Jewish community that's interested in this product. We're talking to a community that wants to have everything, and we want people to be able to have those foods. We want people to be able, I guess it's appropriate to speak at an Oorah function where we're trying to get people to be observant.
Right.
But if you're going to tell somebody being observant means that he can't have his favorite candy and he can't have his favorite ice cream, it's going to be a challenge. But if the people at Oorah tells a boy or girl, you could be frum and still have everything you want to eat, then I guess it makes their job easier. So that's why we're their partners.
And one of the staff was just telling me that at the Oorah camps, they put M&Ms in the machine because it has an OU and they want to teach the kids what's the difference of what's kosher.
Right, and M&Ms, we have an interesting story. President Bush was a big fan of M&Ms. And the executive director of the OU at that time, Rabbi Weinrib, was once in the White House, and he was introduced as the executive vice president of the OU. And the president asked him, well, what's the OU? He's not keeping kosher.
Right.
Or maybe he's not keeping kosher yet. And the president asked him, what's this OU? So he says, you see the M&M? That's OU. That's OU certified. And that actually intrigued him. But there's another important story that, you mentioned M&Ms, that I want to mention.
Yes.
M&Ms, which is made by Mars, is obviously Mars is one of the three largest candy companies in the country. Mars, Nestle, and Hershey. Right. All three are OU certified. But the last of the three that were OU certified was Mars. They were really never interested in being OU certified. The reason they became OU certified was because there were a number of ice creams that we certify that have M&M candy bits in them. And those M&M candy bits had to be kosher because the ice cream factory was kosher. So they got certified that way. Not long after they became certified, they came to us and said, rabbis, whatever is certifiable, we want certified. So, we're...
Obviously, it's a difference in volume pickup.
So we're, somewhat chutzpahdik. So we asked them, well, what happened? You never were interested in kosher, and all of a sudden you can't get enough of us. And they told us a very interesting fact. They said, on the back of every package of M&Ms that we sell, there's an 800 number where consumers call us with comments, questions. And after those products became OU certified, we noticed how many calls we got. And we watched those calls.
So they were screening them.
We were screening them, and we noticed how many calls we got saying that we're so happy that they became kosher. Can you get more products kosher? And they said that the callers were actually, and this was a word that they used, the callers were passionate. So we saw that there's a real market out there. So he said, we want to get the OU in as much as possible. And that became the beginning of a great relationship.
I was just informed before we went on that the OU has this new thing where they go out to the communities and they teach people and train them in.
Well, it's not really new, but it's been going on for
me, it's new.
For you, it's new.
What did you say it was called?
It's called Ask OU.
Ask OU.
ASKOU. And there are really a number of dimensions to this program. One dimension is that we train Rabbonim or Kollel Yungalite or Yeshiva Talmidim that may be interested in learning about kosher, that may be interested in one day becoming involved in kosher, whether as Mashgichim or Rabbonim. So we have programs programs where we teach them. And another area where we're very involved is teaching the community. There are a lot of communities around the country that people really want to learn about kosher, because kosher is complicated, whether learning how to check vegetables, which we know is
Light boxes
and a real big issue. Many different fruits and vegetables need to be inspected, whether it's teaching people about the basics of halacha and why foods need to be kosher and why make food kosher. So we send out rabbanim who are experts in these different fields to different communities around the country and around the world to teach them about kosher. And these programs have been incredibly well received. In fact, I just was told 2 days ago that I'm traveling to Toronto on June 11th to speak there as part of this program.
And I like the way you always see by Kosher Fest, the OU, the MK, the COR, all the hashgachas, they all it's like one big family.
Right. There's a lot of misconception out there, and I'm not saying that there isn't a level of competition,
right,
but competition is good. It makes us all better. And certainly on a personal level and on a professional level, we do get along, and because we're really in this for an avodas hakodesh. We're really here to help the community have kosher food.
You have to watch what's going in. If
Right. That's part of what we're trying to do.
Not to go off topic a little bit, but there was a little bit of a meat scandal in California a little bit. I don't want to get into it too deeply, but...
it wasn't an OU certified.
No, it wasn't an OU certified, but still, we don't want to talk about Lashon Hara.
We're not going to talk Lashon Hara.
How are consumers who are buying meat today in their OU certified stores, how are they going to feel confident, or how should they go about buying meat?
Well, it's a great question, and it's something that obviously bothers us to a great degree. I myself was out in California last week in Los Angeles to see how the OU could be helpful in preventing such episodes from happening again. Because even if it doesn't happen in an OU certified establishment, we still have an achrayus, we still have a responsibility to Klal Yisrael, that people who are eating kosher food, that to know that the food is kosher, and certainly when we're speaking about something as serious as meat.
And you can help to prevent it
from happening again. And I can't sit here and tell you that I have any guarantees, because there are no guarantees in life.
Right.
But we've learned a number of facts, and we've learned a lot of things that people should be careful with. First of all, and I have to say that I think this is the most important part of giving hashgacha, especially when you're talking to something as sensitive as meat, where there's a real incentive for somebody to cheat. Right. And that is, you have to know who you're giving hashgacha to. And if the person you're giving hashgacha to is not personally committed to keeping kosher, as an observant Jew, certainly if he has some sort of right, and certainly if he has a record of having done something inappropriate, he shouldn't get hashgacha, no matter what.
Even with the mashgiach on the premises?
Even with 10 mashgiachim on the premises. And the answer is very simple, because in Yiddish there's a saying for a ganav and shtok and shloss. There are no locks and keys for a ganav. And if somebody wants to cheat, he'll always figure out a way to beat the system. So I think the first thing is, and I think it's important that the consumer should know, where is he shopping? Where is she shopping? Who's the person that owns the business? Who's the person that owns the store? And if you wouldn't be comfortable eating in that person's home, then you shouldn't buy there. Mm-hmm. And another important element, a critically important element, is that you have to have mashgiach, and when I say mashgiach, I mean a mashgiach tamidi. A place that's selling meat should have a mashgiach tamidi there all of the time.
Now, I know a little bit about this, because I was a mashgiach for a very short time, but that doesn't...
Why only a short time? This is better.
Not really, but it doesn't always mean just watching the cooking and cleaning the vegetables. It also means signing...
Mashgiach means that nothing comes into the kitchen that you haven't seen with your eyes and know is fine.
It means if they need hamburger or hot dog buns, you got to make sure that...
We had a very interesting story.
Yes.
We had a restaurant that we certified in Manhattan. Mm-hmm. And the mashgiach, we had a great mashgiach, and he checked everything that came in. And one day, the owner walked in with a small brown bag.
He didn't think to ask him anything?
No, on the contrary. And the mashgiach told him, I have to see what's in the bag. He says, what do you have to see what's in my bag? It's my private thing. It's my lunch.
Right.
He says, nothing comes in here without me checking. It doesn't make a difference if it's a big box or a little bag.
Or if it's for you or for the store.
It doesn't make a difference. He opened the bag, and there was one non-kosher chicken. And that's how he caught the guy. So you have to have a mashgiach tamidi, a good mashgiach tamidi, an astute mashgiach tamidi who's there all the time. And I think the third point that we're learning is, yes, you have to be giving hashgacha to a reliable individual. Yes, you have to have a full-time, great mashgiach. But I think the third thing is we need to use modern technology to help us do our job. So whether it's surveillance cameras stationed throughout the entire facility, whether it's forensic accounting to watch what's coming in and what's going out, whether it's connecting to the supplier and making sure that the establishment says, well, I bought 1,000 pounds a week this week from this supplier. Did you buy 1,000 pounds this week? Or what did he buy and where did he buy it? And if we'll be more vigilant, but we really, really need the consumer to help us. Because if the consumer doesn't take this seriously and he buys anything that has some sort of a symbol on it and doesn't care to check himself what is the status of the hashgacha, you're going to end up with trouble.
Does the OU have an app for hashgachas?
Yes, we do. We have an app. We have a droid. We have everything. We have one for Pesach. We have one for all year. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. These are a lot of words that I'm saying I don't know what I mean.
It's fine.
Because I don't know anything about these things. I was born to.
It's a better way.
A long time ago.
It's more ways for people to contact you.
Right. We're very in communication.
You told me before that the consumers should also be responsible for things like meat. How would you say the consumer's responsible?
Again, and that's what I said a few moments ago. I think the consumer has to become an educated consumer. An educated consumer means that he knows what good kashrus means. What does it mean when you have hashgacha that's doing the job right? And that therefore when he or she walks into a store, make sure that the hashgacha that's being done is being done properly and could follow up on that.
So if they don't see a mashgiach, what should they do?
Walk out.
Should they also go and contact that hashgacha?
They should contact the hashgacha. They should tell the hashgacha. They should tell the store owner, I'd love to buy here. I think your product is great. I think your store is great, but I can't buy here because you don't have a mashgiach tamidi. That's what they should do. And if they're going to push this and they're going to show that they care, you will find how quickly there will be a positive response from the other side. We at Hashgachas are ready, willing, and able to do our job. Obviously, with a lot of siyata d'shmaya. We need a lot of siyata d'shmaya in what we do. But we also need a lot of help from everybody. We need the companies to help us, and we need the consumers to help us.
About a year ago, I think the big move was Gatorade becoming kosher under the OU. I remember seeing these full-page Gatorade ads in the paper. Has there been any other big moves like that since then?
Well, the most recent popular product that became OU certified was the line of Minute Maid juices.
Right.
So that they have a whole line of different juices, and not long before Pesach, they became OU certified. And Baruch Hashem.
How many flavors is that, do you know?
I don't know offhand, but there are many different flavors, and we are Baruch Hashem experiencing continuous growth. Like I said earlier, not only are we experiencing growth and so many products are kosher, but it's shocking where those products are being produced all around the country and all around the world.
So let me ask you about Elefant. Was there anything that you ever liked eating when you found out the ingredients or the process that you said, okay, I can't eat that anymore?
I try to eat everything that has a good hashgacha. So if it has a good hashgacha, then I use it. And probably the less I eat, the better off I am.
OU.org, I believe, is the website for more
OU.org, OUkosher.org. We have hundreds and thousands of people coming and learning and getting information. If I could give a plug, we have a Daf Yomi shir on the OU website also that we have many people listening to. It's really a place where kashrus is taught, Torah is taught, and we all want to do better, like you guys are trying to do with your program.
Well, we appreciate all you do. I know there's thousands of millions of people that buy OU kosher products. I can tell you when I was traveling with my wife, I think in Florida, maybe 12 years ago, we stayed in a non-kosher area at all. It was just for business. And we're going through the big supermarket over there. And believe it or not, in middle of Yopensville, there's always some OU kosher products.
Many times when I meet companies, obviously the people I meet aren't Jewish, don't keep kosher, don't know much about kosher. And I tell them, I wanted you to do an experiment for me. When you come home tonight, open up your pantry and look how many products you have in your pantry that are kosher and are OU certified. And they call me the next day and they tell me, you know, I'm a half a Jew. And I had that the other day. I was coming home from Montreal on a plane, and we were stuck on the runway in LaGuardia for 2 hours.
Wow.
And the stewardess, we had 11 people on the plane. Out of those 11 people on the plane, 6 were Orthodox Jews, obviously Orthodox Jews. And the stewardess was looking through the galley if she had any kosher food. So she told me, how do I know it's kosher? This was not a Jewish person. I said, I looked for the OU. And she said, I have a real problem because I have 6 Orthodox Jews on the plane, but I only have 4 bags of nuts with the OU. What are you guys going to do?
I have one question for you before I let you go.
Okay.
What's the difference between OUD and OU dairy equipment?
Well, first of all, the OU does not have a dairy equipment designation.
Oh, you don't?
We don't have that designation. Not that there aren't a lot of foods that are DE. The definition, to help an average individual understand, is very simple. If you have at home a pot that's a fleischiger pot, that's completely clean, and your wife cooks spaghetti in it, that's parv. So now that spaghetti that you cooked in that pot, is it fleischigs? It's not fleischigs. If you haven't used the pot, it's clean, it's not fleischigs. On the other hand, you can't eat that spaghetti with millikins.
Right.
That's DE.
Interesting. Thank you very much, Rabbi Elefant.
Nice to
Before
meet
we let you go, I'd like to give you the honor of picking the 6th winner of the laptop or iPod.
Okay. What happens if it's me?
Then I'm going to have to take back the envelope. We're going to have to ask for another one.
Okay. Well, it's not me.
This is OU certified paper, by the way.
Okay, yes. It's Temi Zamnik from Woodmere, New York, who won a choice of a laptop or an iPad.
Thank you very much. Temi Zamnik. All right. From Woodmere, New York, choice of iPad or a laptop, because you did not enter for more. If you would have gave $40 to the Oorah auction, you could have won both an iPad and a laptop. Don't forget to enter for your chance to win $1 million. $1 million. $1 million.
A lot of money.
In the Oorah Chinese auction. Up next hour is 5-ish at 5, and the top of the hour after that, I believe, is Rabbi Yossi Zweig. That's right. Keep it tuned here. He's going to have a story. He's going to entertain us. Special thanks to Rabbi Elefant. OU.org. Keep it tuned here to the next video. Check back at the beginning of the next hour and visit Oorah.org.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Rabbi Elefant.